I'd like to take a look at the other fields in the object info palette that haven't been covered in the other movies. We'll switch back to our file that has the plant in it, and let's go through them. We've talked about the species and the tag number in the other movies. The tree number will only become available if the tag number is auto setting the tag number is turned off. So the origin, you can simply set that by choosing it from the menu here. The size information, that's all fairly self-evident. The root display, let's look at that. So we've got the critical root zone, the primary root zone, and we've got the ability to show both zones. Now, the first time you choose these, it will automatically calculate them from the diameter of at breast height. Okay, and using the formula dBH times 2.5 for the critical root zone and dBH times 5 for the primary root zone. Now that's just a starting point, so it's good to actually set the diameter correctly, the dBH first. So let's say we set that to 500, makes the maths easier. And that's on 500, so now I'll set the, turn on the critical root zone, and you'll see that it's 1250, which is 2.5 times that number there. And if I turn on the primary zone, it will be 2500, which is 5 times the diameter at breast height. But once it's displaying, you can then alter the number, and provided you don't turn this off again, your altered number will stick. It's only if you turn the root display off that it will then derive the primary and critical root zones using the formula I just mentioned. Let's turn them both on so you can see both of them there. And these will also move with the trunk. If you happen to move the tree trunk because the tree has grown asymmetrically, then the root zones are going to move with the trunk. Now the other way that if you did happen to reset this, and say I set that to 300, you'll notice these are not going to change now because they're already displaying. But if I come in here and set this back to 0 and hit enter, then once you do that, it will again derive the critical root diameter from the formula 2.5 times the dBH. And again, if I do this one to 0, it will then apply that formula again, which is 5 times this. Now, some people think that the root zones should be the tree protection zones, but in fact the tree protection zone needs to be more flexible than just being able to define the root zone, because there may be other the roots may have grown asymmetrically. There may be other aspects of the tree that need to be protected. The tree may be in poor condition, and so it needs extra care. So we have a separate field here for tree protection. And by the way, provided we're using the classes for the root zones, if I turn that class off, then the root zones will disappear even though I've got them turned on here. So that way you're able to turn the root zones on and off across the whole drawing simply by making the class invisible. Alright, so the tree protection zone, this is editable, and in quite a detailed way. We can either display the tree protection zone or we can edit the tree protection zone, and initially you'll choose to edit the tree protection zone, which will expose one additional field here, and you'll see there are extra handles here. Now again, this tree protection zone is going to move in relation to the tree trunk, but these extra handles here allow you to actually move the tree protection zone, increase its size, change its shape. And this corner radius is essentially the radius at each of the corners. So if you only wanted that to be quite small, say 100 millimeters, then you can do something like that and you'll get a more defined shape. So this allows you to really define a tree protection zone that is necessary for the protection of that tree. If the tree needs to be fenced off during construction, or you want to extend this boundary over to this edge over to a boundary line or an existing building or something like that, you're really able to define the tree protection zone with a great deal of accuracy. Once you have it defined, then you can switch tree protection back to just display tree protection zone, and the handles will disappear and you'll no longer be able to reshape it in that mode, and that just prevents those handles from sort of getting in the way visually. Again, this is in a class, provided you've turned on the class. So let's just show that. If I turn off the tree protection zone class, you'll see that it will disappear. So again, you can globally across the whole drawing turn off all tree protection zones or turn them back on again if that's what you need to do. Actually, we might turn that off. Okay, the condition of the tree, and all of these next 4 fields behave in the same way. You can choose one of the default values here, or you can choose a custom value. If you choose custom, then you can then enter the specific text that you want to enter for the tree condition. Same with the life expectancy. Let's just set that back to say average. With the life expectancy, you can either set one of the standard ones, set it for removal, or again you've got the custom option. If you choose custom, then an additional field will appear here. If you and this is the field that gets reported in the tree report, and we'll show that in a separate movie, how to do the existing tree schedule. If I set this to average, to short, 5 to 15 years, then you'll see that the custom field has that text entered into it automatically. Alright, so let's just put that back on there. Now, the significance, we've talked about this a little bit. So we have the various significance values here, and if you want to choose a custom significance, so let's just say we set that to hazardous, and you'll see when we set it to hazardous, this color changed up here. If I go to a custom value and the word hazardous is still the first word in here, then this will still respond to the various colors. So in other words, if my custom significance, I want to put here hazardous, remove first thing tomorrow, then it will still, the color, provided my first word here is hazardous, then this color will be recognized and the system will work. If you just put custom text in there, so if I remove that hazardous, then there's no way for the existing tree to actually know what color to allocate to it. So if you want to use the custom fields, then start them off with most, highly, less, or least, and then you should be okay. So if we set this back to less significant and we come down here to custom, you'll see custom is also set to less significant, and I can then put some other custom text in there, and provided the first word is less, it will still get recognized by the color system here. Alright, let's just set that back to, say, highly significant. Now, retain, we've also talked about this, and the same thing applies here. So we've got some default ones here, so retain arborist work required, remove because it's within the building footprint. Again, if you want to choose a custom field here, provided the custom field begins with remove or retain, then you can add whatever comment you like after that, like say too close to boundary, or whatever. Provided that first word is removed, then the tree outline will still be correctly chosen from whatever you've got chosen here. Alright, so let's just put that back to retain. We've then got a number of other fields here, and really you can use these fields for anything you like. They are just text fields that allow you to add information to the tree and then show that information in the report. We've added RL reduced level, in other words whatever the ground level is at that point, the age, the year that it was planted, the date that it was assessed, the location, and general notes. But put in whatever information you need in here, because you can then display that directly in the tree report.